Hello, everyone. We're going to give one more minute to admit the other people that are joining us today. So just give us one more minute and then we're going to start at 3:02. Hello, Andy. Hello, Carlos.
Hi, everybody.
Doble Carlos.
Okay, we are almost ready. Okay, so 3:02. We gave them 2 minutes. So let's start. First of all, welcome and hello everyone and welcome to today's session, live session titled Exploring Our Origins with Novus Coffee Imports. It is wonderful to be with you today, this Friday afternoon, to talk about Guatemala in our second edition of Origin session with our team in Origin. I'll introduce our special guest joining us from Guatemala in just a second. First, a few housekeeping things. This session will last between 30 to 45 minutes. And if we have questions, we can go a bit longer. We want to keep things fun and interactive. So please feel free to type in your question in the public chat and interrupt us if you have any question during the presentation. Can we go to slide 2, please, Carlos? My name is Michelle Dunaway, and I'm with Novus Coffee Imports. I'm based out of Texas, but I grew up in Honduras. And just like my colleagues at Novus, I spent pretty much all my life in the coffee industry. First in Honduras, and then here in the US with Novus Coffee. Just a brief introduction on who Novus is. We are a specialty coffee importer with headquarters in Seattle. We focus on sourcing high-end quality coffees, building strong win-win relationships with along the supply chain, producers and roasters. And we support sustainability programs like LIFT and Seeds for Progress, and we will expand on those 2 programs very shortly. It's very important to mention that we aim to provide exceptional customer service, and that is going above and beyond customers' expectations. Can we go to the 3rd slide, please? So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Carlos Ordóñez. He is Mercon Guatemala Country Manager. Mercon Coffee is Novus Coffee parent company. So both myself and Carlos are in the same team. Carlos has an extensive experience in coffee that goes back many, many years, and his background and experience and knowledge will help us paint a picture of Guatemalan coffee and learn about the country, the current situation, and what expectations are for 2021 crop year. Toward the end of the session, we will share a video that's in Spanish, but it has subtitles in English that features many Guatemalan producers. Then we have a long-standing relationship based on trust, based on collaboration, and on working towards common goals to build a better coffee world. So, Carlos, please take it away.
Thank you, Michelle. And as Michelle said, I would like to be interrupt as many times as possible, so we can do this more like a friendly chat than me doing a monologue on what's happening in not only in American but in Guatemala as a country. So I would like to start my presentation going from the generals of the company, and then I'll jump to the generals or the particulars of Guatemala as a country, and then I'll jump to Mercon Guatemala, what we have been doing in the country since we started, and then more focus in a couple of particular coffees that we have already shipped to Novus in the previous months or years. And in the end, maybe talk a little bit or give an update on the COVID situation in the country. But please, guys, feel free to interrupt or to ask any questions, please. And I also want to apologize because there's a few slides there are in Spanish. I mean, I think all of them are self-explanatory, but if you have any questions also on the translation, ask me or Michelle. We'll be happy to translate. And
of course.
Yeah. So basically, what you're seeing in the first slide is where Mercon has operations, not only in origin, but also in destination. We're importers in the US, but also in Europe. And we have offices in Barcelona, in Amsterdam. We have offices in New York and in Miami. We have also offices in Vietnam. They're managing all, not only our origin, but our marketing offices also to Asia. We're very strong in Arabicas coffee. I mean, we do a lot of volume as a company in the world. We do close to 5 million bags as a company, but it's important to specify that we are an Arabica coffee company, and more importantly, we try to specialize ourselves in the milds, basically Central American. We do a couple of we don't have origin there, but we do a lot of Colombians and Africans, and even in Vietnam we specialize ourselves as a origin company in Arabicas from Vietnam. And then we jump to Guatemala. So I'll start with very general information about the country. First things that I want to notice is that Guatemala is not that far away from the US. I mean, we're only 2 borders away, so we're right next to Mexico. So it's pretty easy to find Guatemala in the map, right? we're the first country right after Mexico, and we are the largest economy in Central America. Guatemala is even larger than the economy of Panama. I mean, Panama has the canal and all this hub for airlines. Even so, Guatemala is I mean, the economy of Guatemala, not forgetting that it's a poor country, it's a country part of the third world, but in Central America, Guatemala has a relative importance in economy. Also, we are the largest in population. We are close to 17 million people. And this is a number that I don't want you to forget, because it's important to have this reference when we talk about the COVID situation, right? So we're neighbors to Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador, and we have access to both oceans. We have one port in the Pacific Ocean, which is our largest port. It's called Puerto Quetzal. And then we have 2 ports in the Atlantic Ocean. We have Puerto Barrios and Santo Tomás de Castilla. Regarding coffee, 65% of the coffee goes out through Santo Tomas, through the ports on the Atlantic Ocean. The rest goes out of the Pacific, and it's going to be very obvious. Coffee going to Asia mainly, and to the west coast of the states, right? Another thing that I want to notice in Guatemala is not only the population but the medium age. We're a very young country. It's 21 years old. It's super young. So I'm disrupting this number, I guess. And also, I wanna point out that Guatemala City is the largest city between Mexico Distrito Federal and Bogota. Mexico Distrito Federal has something around 25 million people population, and Bogota has something around 10 to 12. Guatemala has 6 million people, around-ish. So it's a big city. It's a city with, I mean, we can call it a city already because it's fairly large and fairly, it's very nice to live here in Guatemala. I mean, our biggest asset is our weather. Let me just tell you about the weather. Right now we're in 75 degrees, and it's like that all year long. It goes down to the lower 60s, and it goes up to the higher 70s, I guess, all year long throughout. And we only have 2 seasons during the year. We call it winter when it rains, and we call it summer when it doesn't. So it's pretty easy. And it rains from May through October. So basically we're in the middle of the rainy season. And if I could just show you the window, it's sunny, and I mean, when it rains in the afternoons. A couple of, I mean, I would say 1 to 2 hours of heavy rains, because we're very close to the Ecuador, I guess, and we're tropical rains, right? And it cools the temperature a little, and then it stops, and then you're free to go, I guess. What else? Important things. Guatemala has also very high altitudes. We have a chain of mountains that goes from border to border, from Mexico to El Salvador, and the border with Honduras, the southern part of the border with Honduras. And there's a very high altitude mountain that has 33 volcanoes. This is the area that Ana Cafe is showing with coffee plantations. Basically, all the dark that you see in the south is basically the mountain chains that I was talking about with the 33 volcanoes. They're all in a row. And I would say there's no more than 400 kilometers from border to border. So you can see a chain of volcanoes. You can see it. I mean, on a clear day, on a sunny day, you can see up to 6 to 7 volcanoes, one next to the other, if you are in the right spot. So it's a very nice view always from Guatemala. The city is right next to 3 volcanoes. 2 out of the 3 are active. One of them, it's fairly well known as the Volcán de Fuego. It destroyed a couple of small towns a few years ago, and it was a disaster, no? Because it's basically, if you can see my screen, I mean, if you can see me, the volcano right in my back is the Volcán de Fuego, Acatenango en Fuego. This is actually a background of a farm in Antigua, Guatemala, which is also between three volcanoes. But this situation of the volcanoes gives us a lot of altitude, which is really good for coffee, right? So the higher it gets, the better quality of coffee we get. Also, we have a lot of water. We have something like 40 rivers coming down from the high mountains and volcanoes and coming down. If you see the distance from the Pacific Ocean to the line of mountains, of high altitude mountains, it's only 100 kilometers. It's about 65 miles. So it's you go from 0 meters above sea level, 0 meters above sea level to the highest peak mountain or volcano in Guatemala is right half the size of the Everest. So the Everest is in meters is 8,800 meters. En Guatemala, el volcán de Tajumulco, I'm sorry, it's 4,400 meters above sea level. So it's in miles, it's about 3,000 miles above sea level. So it's 3,000 miles. Did I say 3,000? It's yeah, it's 3 miles above sea level. I'm sorry. This is where the volcanoes are. Basically, the volcanic soil gives a lot of good quality to the coffee as well. But not only the soil and the altitude, but this gives more than 300 microclimates, and every microclimate influence in the quality and in the texture in the cupping profile of every single state of the coffee. So this makes Guatemala very, very particular, very special for the quality. This is why we find so much coffee in Guatemala of a very good quality. And you can find, if you travel around the country, you will find so many different strokes of quality coffees that I mean, it's a rainbow of quality of coffee. So it's really, really nice. And plus, you have the plus of the views. No, Guatemala has a really, really nice views. This is another view of the altitude of the volcanoes. If you can see, again, from border to border, there's no more than 300 miles, and we have this many volcanoes right one next to the other, and you can see how you can see the volcanoes. I mean, it's beautiful. Guatemala is a beautiful country. They tell me that I mean, if I didn't work in coffee, I would be a great tourist guide, but I don't know. So
it is unfortunate that we can't go visit you right now.
I guess this is a virtual welcome to the country, no?
Mm-hmm.
And I like to be a very good host. So whenever you guys want to, or whenever the situation let us, you're welcome to visit Guatemala, and I'll be very happy to welcome you and to host you in Guatemala.
Okay, absolutely. We'll take.
I can vouch that he's a very great host.
Thank you, Jolene.
ANA Café is the Asociación Nacional del Café. Basically, is the institution that not only they control everything about coffee in Guatemala. That's the institution that gives permission to export, and they do a lot of technical assistance to the producers in the country. And ANA Café also works. I mean, ANA Café is owned by the producers. It's an association that it's compuesta. It's so it's a producer association, and they do a lot of work of marketing coffee, Guatemalan coffees around the world. They have done an amazing job segmentizing the coffees through 8 regions. Another thing I forgot to tell you about Guatemala. You can see Guatemala is basically split in 2. You can see a large area in the north of the country. That's called Petén. Petén is, so we divide the country not in states as in the US, but in departamentos. Guatemala has 23 departamentos. One departamento is Petén, which is the whole north part of the country. But as I told you before, Guatemala is a 17 million people country population. Less than 1 million live in Petén, and the rest we all live in the southern part, I would say, in the middle to down part of the country. Petén is holding all the Mayan old cities. I guess you've heard about Tikal, or maybe El Mirador. They're just discovering El Mirador. They're just unwrapping or discovering the largest or biggest pyramid in the world. That's right in the north of Petén, very close to Mexico, but still in Guatemala, still in Petén, and they're gonna take like 20 years to uncover the whole pyramid. So but it's amazing. I mean, to go there, it's another thing. It's out of the world. So this is the basic different regions that Ana Café promotes. But Guatemala, as I told you before, has more than 300 microclimates, and also more than 300 kinds of different cupping profiles. Let's call it that way. This is a good idea of how Guatemala exports their coffee. As you can see, most of, I mean, between if you add on the US and Canada, you're taking more than 50% of the coffees goes to the US and Canada. Second, or I mean, if you take North America as one destination, the second largest would be Asia, and mainly Japan. So Japan takes about between 17 and 23% of the crop, depends on the year and the demand in Japan. But Japan is super important for us, and then Europe, no, as a whole. This is a little segmentation of how we think, or we gathered all this data from our own technical assistant team, and also we compared this to Ana Café's data. So this is mainly how Guatemala looks like. We have a total of 125,000 producers, out of which, I mean, 123,000 are small producers. And by small, I mean really, really small. The average of a small producer, it's about 2 hectares. And they are producing 8 bags per hectare as an average. We do have a lot of coffee that comes out of big farms, but we think that the focus we need to have to emphasize quality is in small producers. Part of the efforts that Mercon does in the country is, so we have a a couple of initiatives. We have one called Lift. Lift is our own sustainable seal. And the other initiative is Seeds for Progress. Seeds for Progress is our foundation that focus in basically education. And we try to focus in schools around our Lift programs. So we are consecutive with our efforts. No? We try to support our producers with schools for their children, basically.
Yeah.
This is the official map of Ana Café and the official logos, how they are promoting all the different regions. One of the most famous maybe is the Genuino Antigua, no? Which was basically the first. And they did this like 30 years ago. So it's been an amazing job done by Ana Café. It's been amazing. Talk about volumes. This is the volumes that Guatemala has export for the last 10 years. You can see a really drop here in the 14-15. That was due mainly to Roya and the low prices, no? And they have an impact on volumes. It is easy to tell, right? You can see also how are we visualizing next crop, which is 2021. We don't see volume growing, and it's basically due to the prices, basically. People are basically not investing what they need to, and it takes, the plant, I mean, any plantation takes about 2 years. So you will see the reflect of what you did or what you did not do last year, you will see it next year. So what you didn't do in 18-19, you will see the results in 2021, basically. And in last year, it was a really bad year for producers, not only because of the board, but the differentials weren't that high, and they did not invest. They didn't have enough money to invest. Mm-hmm. So we'll see that impact in the volume in the next coming crop.
Okay.
I'll jump to Mercon Guatemala.
Carlos, do you mind if I stop you for a second for a question?
Yeah, please.
Carlos, do you have a question? I think you're on. Yes, we can.
Hey, Carl, nice to meet you. Question is, how differential can look for next year, seeing the production is lower than the year before for 2021?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear how the what?
The differential. ¿Cuánto más vas a pagar por café cuando lo exporten?
Sí. So differentials right now are looking really high, but that was because of, and that was my next point. So then you have how every crop is developing, right? Mm-hmm. A regular crop in Guatemala starts in end of October, let's say mid-October to mid-April. When you have, and this is more like a saying, there's no proof about this, but when you have a small crop, you have a shorter in terms of the period of the crop. It's shorter. So, and this crop that we're finishing right now, the 1920, is a great example for that. So this crop was a smaller crop. Mm-hmm. And it started, it did not start in October. It started end of November, early December. And it ended up in March. What this caused was an effect on differentials, because everybody was expecting more coffee to come out out of Guatemala, and it didn't. So the differential went up. It rallied. For example, if you want to buy today a mainstream Guatemala SHP, it's around the 70s above the C market. So it's extremely high.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is because many exporters and many traders in the U.S. were short. So they have sold the coffee and they didn't bought the coffee at that time. So now they have to look for the coffee anywhere else from other traders or from other companies, and so the demand spiked, and we didn't have enough coffee to cover the demand. Basically, I see for next crop differentials all through the milds, I would say, and this is because we have done so many studies, and we don't have the final word here, but we think as a company that demand overall during this crisis of COVID, it shifted, right, from consumption out of home to consumption in home, but it also shifted from, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that people in their houses in the US and in Canada mainly, they are not sacrificing their good quality coffees. So demand on the milds, on all the Central Americans, the Colombians and the Africans, it's really, really high demand. And the production is not there. I mean, we don't see, I mean, we see Honduras maybe producing a little more, but then you have Nicaragua, Guatemala, and then you have Costa Rica and El Salvador. I don't know. I mean, there's not going to be enough coffee to cover the mild demand, the Arabica. That's how I see it. So my prediction is maybe the differential, it's also depending on what the C market is doing. No? So if the C market comes up a little, they might soften a little down the differentials, but I don't know. It's really hard to say. I don't see the differentials coming down to 12 or 15 over. I don't see that. Most probably they will end up between the 40s and 50s, maybe 60s. I don't know. Okay. But that's going to be less coffee. I don't know if this answers your question.
Carlos?
Thank you.
Okay. Carlos, since you touched COVID-19, what do you think the impact will be, if any, to crop 2021? And if you can just mention briefly what the situation right now is in the country.
Of course. So luckily for us, our crop ended up let's say mid-March, and the first case in Guatemala came in the 13th of March 13th. So we closed the borders in March 15th, and that was really lucky for the coffee situation, because it didn't impact I mean, there was like 5% of the crop still to harvest and to move to the mills, right? Which we were able to do. That was the ending crop. But for the next coming crop, it will. I mean, we are depending mainly on what's going to happen with this lockdown that we're living. No, basically, what Guatemala is locked down. So we have a curfew. We cannot go out of our houses from 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. and on Sundays. And we have restrictions to move our cars. So we can move only even or uneven plates, ending number plates.
Uh-huh.
every other day. So if on Monday they're the even numbers, then on Tuesday they're the uneven. So we're basically working from home as much as possible, and we are on a lockdown. But that's mainly in the city, right? If you go to the countryside, people in the countryside are very afraid of the COVID, and they're locking their self down. So what they're doing is they're putting chains or stones, big stones in the road. And they don't let anybody, not even trucks, in or out.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a concern, I would say.
Has it slowed down the spread, you think?
No, I mean the spread, and you'll see that in my last slide. The
Okay.
spread, I mean the people infected has exploded, but that depends on how many tests the government is throwing out, right?
Okay.
But the number of deaths, it's if I can tell you a number right now, it's 623 total deaths. Again, for a 17 million people country population, my perception is that it's well under control still.
Okay.
Still, but I mean, we have more than 15,000 people infected so far. This is the last update of last night.
Okay.
And so I don't know. It's it will depend on how this lockdown develops over the next coming months, and it might have a good impact in the harvest if we kept locked down. So hopefully we'll keep this under control and we'll have a good harvest. But I have this big concern still. Still too early to say, I would say.
Thank you for that, Carlos. If anyone has any question, please feel free to stop us and just either type your question or ask your question directly to Carlos.
Okay.
I'll also be sending out both Michelle's email and Carlos's email in the chat box afterwards as well, if you guys are thinking about questions that you have after the webinar.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Merco in Guatemala, we are working right now with I'm sorry, I didn't point out the growth we've had in the last 7 years. We have growth pretty much, and we're gonna end up this crop like if not the second, the third largest exporter in the country. So basically, we're doing close to 15% of the total volume of the country, which is we have become an important player internally in Guatemala. And we are working with 5 mills. The 5 mills, all 5 mills are around Guatemala City. So if not in the city, around the city, the one that is the longest is maybe 30 kilometers away from where I'm right now. So they're very close. And we are working with 2 warehouses where we procure coffee and receive, right? So one in Huehuetenango, which I think is a great region, and one of my favorites, I would say.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. And the other one is in San Marcos, it's in Coatepeque. We'll try to centralize there all the coffee coming from San Marcos and Quetzaltenango and all the South Coast. And the rest of the country, we receive it in the city, basically. So we send out trucks to get loaded with coffee, and then we move it right away to the mill. Basically, why? Because Guatemala is great to store coffee. So as I told you before, no, the weather here is our biggest asset. and the humidity also, no? And so it's we don't have. I mean, we have like 65% of humidity all year long. And when it's the rainy season, it goes up a little, and when it's not raining, it goes down. It goes down to 50 something, 58, 55. But we don't have peaks. Not in temperature, not even in humidity. So it makes Guatemala a great place to store coffee, basically.
Now I understand.
This is a little. I want to show you just a few numbers of the foundation. We have now 3 schools supported and 180 students, but it's a working. It's an ongoing work. So we're growing with the foundation in Guatemala. This year we're gonna add on another 2 schools and another 150 students. So it's a lot of effort from the foundation in Guatemala. Also, point out that we're doing this in schools around our LIFT programs. So this is where we are doing. Basically we're having our LIFT programs right now. Basically, there are more than 600 producers, and we have the last one we added is this one in Huehuetenango, but we started in Santa Palencia, which is really close to Guatemala City.
Okay.
And we have Olopita and Palos Abrazados in going to your home country, Michelle, close to Honduras. Yeah.
Carlos, I think I just wanted to touch a point on LIFT since it's newer to some of our roasters on the sustainability program. And just wanted to share that we've really focused and highlight on 3 different components, which is productivity for the farmer, social development, which links into Seeds for Progress, where all the coffee that we sell here at Novus, we donate a portion, it's incorporated automatically to the schools that we're helping fund. And then we focus on environmental impact as well too. So it's really, really a great sustainability program that we're working to share more with our customers, but we also know that it is newer to our customers as well. So I just wanted to point that out.
Nice.
Thank you, Julie.
There's some things that I always forget. I tend to speed up when I'm speaking, and I forget to mention something. So
you're great. Carlos, I am not sure if probably you have more down in the presentation about the cupping profiles from the regions. Okay. Yeah.
I just wanted to show you just the growth we have had in the last 2 years. So this is 18-19 crop. This is how we started our LIFT programs and Seeds for Progress helping in schools. Then this is this year. This is the ones we add up this year. And this is the next coming crop. So from today to in 12 months, we should be looking at a map like this in our LIFT programs, and we are adding up another 400 small producers and another, did I tell you this? Another 2 schools and 150 students, right?
That's great.
Yeah, it's been a great journey with LIFT and the foundation. This is the cupping profiles. I don't know if we can ask maybe Scott to jump in and if he has any comments on the cupping profiles. The profiles of Huehuetenango, Santa Palencia, El Morito, and Linda Vista. Scott, I don't know if you want to jump in and just back me up. I guess he's not there, no?
Yeah, I think he is.
Maybe he's not listening, but well, so this is Huehuetenango, right, Michelle? Yeah.
Yes.
So Huehuetenango, what I like about Huehuetenango is the spike acidity. It's very fruity and spike acidity. I like it very good. Right? I mean,
that's your favorite.
My favorite. Then we have
Linda Vista.
Linda Vista. Linda Vista is a large, there are like 23 farms together, and they call themselves Linda Vista. But they are an association, I would say, of 23 farms. And we can do there a lot of things. We do 100% Bourbon, 100% yellow Bourbon, 100% Típica. We can do honeys, black honeys, yellow honeys. We can do naturals. So we have done several things with Acapulpas and several things with this farm. This is the mainstream coffee this is the cupping profile of the mainstream coffee of Linda Vista. I don't know if I mean it's a little caramel notes and citric and juice clean cup. No, it's basically I like it very much, but it has so many different procedures that it changes the cupping profile. Now this is the main strain, but we can do so many things in these farms.
This is Santa Palencia?
The Palencia. So this is our first lift program. Where we started our lift program. We have here, we have already 148 small producers registered in the program and 2 schools. So this is our preferred child, I would call it.
You can't have one, actually.
You always do.
Always do?
Yeah.
So this is it, Santa Palencia.
This is the Santa Palencia. It's very close to the city. This is what I like the most because it only takes us like half an hour drive to get there. It's pretty easy to get there.
Instead of 4 hours in the car, going up in the hills and things like that. I get it.
And then you have, I don't see the title because...
That's Finca El Morito. That is one of my favorites.
Yes.
My favorite child.
Yes, this is one of the best sellers, I guess.
Yes.
And this is in Jalapa. Jalapa, if you want to go there, it will take us about 2 hours to get there. I mean, it's so easy to get there.
That's not too bad.
And the farm is amazing. It's amazing. It's a beautiful farm. It's I mean, and the cupping profile is also remarkable.
Yeah, I've cupped this coffee several times. The arrival samples that we just received, and I have to say, Carlos, that is one of my favorites just because of it's a well-balanced coffee, but it has just a nice acidity and a nice sweetness that complements. It's very complex, so it has been one of my favorites.
Nice. And considering you're being biased for Honduras, so this is a big...
Don't tell Rolando from Honduras I said that.
And so this is my one of the last slide. I guess this is an update of the cases that I just already told you about the COVID in the country. This is how it looks like when you put the numbers, the cold numbers out in the front. So basically, as I told you before, 623 deaths so far. For a 17 million people population country, I guess it's still under control. That's my perception, but we'll see how it develops in the next coming weeks or months. I don't know if you want to take over, Michelle. I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, right now, what we want is show you guys a video that features producers in Guatemala. If you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free. For the ones that join in a few minutes after we had started, my name is Michelle Dunaway. I'm with Novus Coffee, and our special host today is Carlos Ordóñez, and he is American country manager in Guatemala. And Mercon is Novus Coffee parent company. So in that sense, we're colleagues. And he's giving us a snapshot of Guatemala, what is going on right now, what to expect in 2021 in terms of production, prices. We touch about LIFT, our sustainability programs, and Seeds for Progress. And right now we're going to go ahead and show this video just kind of to wrap up, because I know we're just on time. And it's in Spanish, but it has subtitles in English, so don't worry, you'll be able to get what they're saying. And after this, we'll wrap up.
All right.
Thank you, Carlos.
Llevo de estar aquí trabajando en el café aproximadamente unos 18 años.
Mis papás, mis abuelos, pues han sido caficultores desde nacimiento y hasta ahora en la actualidad, pues tenemos un futuro por delante gracias al café.
Todas estas actividades yo las hago con mi esmero y con mucho cuidado, pues para llegar a tener una mejor calidad en mi café, para que así cuando prueben mi café, pues valoren mi esfuerzo, me den un buen precio en mi café.
Comencé en el programa libre, siempre de pequeño mi papá iba años atrás, él empezó y yo estaba pequeño y pues me llevaba a aprender y pues luego hace un año entré yo con esta finca.
Yo decidí ser del programa LIF porque ellos me han asesorado, me han explicado todo el trabajo, entonces a eso sigo yo en el programa LIF.
El programa LIF se enfoca en el apoyo a los productores, darle seguimiento en todas las etapas del cultivo hasta llegar al proceso de venta, ¿verdad? Yo construyo un mejor mundo del café cuando logro que los productores produzcan más y con una mejor calidad.
Merco Guatemala ofrece a sus productores una experiencia comercial trazable, donde buscamos relaciones a largo plazo, donde mantengamos los principios de sinceridad, transparencia y honestidad.
A mí me gusta que me entiendan como la conexión entre productor y tostador, y eso mismo ofrecemos tanto al tostador como al productor. Somos la línea que conecta los puntos.
Mercon, a través de Semillas para el Progreso, inició a apoyar a este establecimiento aproximadamente en el 2018.
Han beneficiado grandemente nuestra comunidad, podemos decir así, porque yo trabajo aquí y la comunidad la tomo como propia. Y ha sido de gran importancia, ¿verdad? Porque la escuela se ha visto favorecida, ya que estaban en muy malas condiciones.
Sí, me gusta mi escuela porque, bueno, los cambios que han habido son los baños que han compuesto, porque esos baños no están atrás de ustedes, y también que pintaron esta escuela de directiva y también han hecho bastantes cosas. A mí me gusta venir a la escuela para aprender a escribir, a dibujar, a leer y a hacer muchos amigos.
Okay, well, thank you, Carlos, for that. I don't see any questions right now, but if you think about anything that you would like to know about Guatemala, about coffee from Guatemala, and if you need a tour guide for a visit, you had graciously offered to be one, just please feel free to email us. Our email it's in the chat, mdunaway@novuscoffee.com and cordonez@merconcorp.com. So if I don't have anything else from the participants, just want to say thank you for spending your Friday afternoon with us. And it was great to have you all, and you all have a good weekend. And Carlos, thank you so much for your time and for doing this presentation. It was super interesting, and we appreciate your time.
No, thank you. It was my pleasure.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.